Ladies and gentlemen, it's Double HR, Mark on the mix. I know you feeling this song, and you like this boy, feeling my swag. Would you sing along? Put the sorrow away, far away, yeah. No matter who you are, no matter where you're from, sing along.
Hey fam, how's it going? My name is Jojo, also known as Jojo. Welcome back, and for those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. So as you can see, we have here my youth, none other than my youth pastor. She is a great person, a wonderful person actually. She has taught me a lot. I have learned so much from her, and I just wanted her to come on Tea Talk Time, as which we have today. Woo! Tea Talk. So which we have here today to talk to us about what it means, the meaning of walking in holiness, what it means to walk in holiness, which is our topic for the day. So please don't forget, you know the drill, like, comment, and subscribe.
What happened to click?
Okay.
And subscribe.
And now you may continue to follow along. Alright, so now we're going to first start off with a prayer as usual, and then we're gonna start off with a prayer as usual, and then we're gonna proceed with the topic. God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for everything that you do and you continue to do for us. God, we thank you for the ability to know your word and understand your word. We thank you for bringing us here together to not only enjoy this wonderful tea that we are having at Panera Bread, but also in the free refills into that. But also we thank you also for bringing us here and for me to be able to have my youth pastor, Elder Cynthia Shefton. It is a huge blessing actually to be able to have her here on Tea Talk Time, to be able to share her experience with us, and also help us to better understand this topic and the meaning of being of walking in your word, walking in holiness, God. We thank you for everything that you do for us. We ask that you bless each and every one of us, that everyone that is watching this video, God. We ask that you help them with whatever they may be struggling with. If they're struggling with walking in holiness, God, we ask that you will help them and strengthen their desire to want to do better, and also be able to comprehend your word so that they can walk in your ways, and we can all actually get into your kingdom. We ask that you will continue to help us also strengthen our relationship with you and our understanding of your word, God. We thank you for everything that you do for us. Bless everyone that is watching. Yes, your name we pray. So as you can see here, we are enjoying our tea.
Yes, I didn't know she was going to do that.
Sorry.
Hey, how'd she do it?
Wonderful tea.
Yes.
From Panera Bread.
What do you have?
I have. I have the agave with the lemonade.
And this is blood orange with a whole bunch of other stuff in it. But
yes, and passion fruit is
it's
in it
really
also, it's green tea.
That one's really good.
Yes.
And
I
you
like
get free
the
refill, so
yes,
I like that, right?
That's the best part. And also, I like the limey taste.
Yeah, I
every
like it
drink.
too.
So,
and if you're diabetic, they have a berry hibiscus, and it has no sugar in it. And kudos to Panera in Woodbridge.
yes.
It's located in a beautiful area. It's a beautiful day, but the place is very clean, and I'm sure the food is very good. but this tea is very good. So
Yeah. Okay, so
that's
we'll.
good. I like to see her do that.
So we're gonna start with our topic for the day is walking in holiness. Walking in holiness. So, this one. So, what does it mean to be holy?
That's a good question. So go ahead. What does it mean?
God is holy. But what exactly does the word holy mean? What does the Bible actually define, or Torah, define as holy? The Hebrew word for holy is kadesh. And it means apartness, set apartness, separateness, sacredness. And I would add that it should also be otherness, transcended and totally other, because God is totally above his creation, and his creatures including us. Holy has the idea of heaviness or weight of glory. In the New Testament, we find that the word for holy is hagios, and it means to set apart, reverend, sacred, and worthy of veneration. This would apply to God because God himself is totally other, separate, sacred, and set apart from every created thing. So this basically tells us the word holy means to be set apart, so which means to be different. Peculiar is another word that we use a lot in our ministry. So meaning not like the world, not like anything that is created in this world, the universe, pretty much. How can we talk in holiness? There are 3 ways that we can talk in holiness that I'm going to talk about actually. Is connect to source of holiness, be set apart, and fast and pray. So those 3 ways are ways that you can basically pretty much that will help you basically in walking in holiness, walking in his way, not your way. So with connecting to source of holiness, God or Yah is the one, God with the capital G, is the one and only, the unchangeable and eternal Holy One. He is also the only one pretty much that I guess we should definitely, the only one we should definitely be looking up to.
Okay.
A lot of people nowadays do look up into a lot of other things, called this idol worshiping. The scripture refer to them as idol worshiping, and that's pretty much when you look up to celebrities or people just because of the amount of money that they're making, or that looks like they're successful, or people even that are in relationships.
Yes, yeah, your husbands.
Yes,
because we're not dating.
So people look up into those people actually who are dating, and when they really shouldn't be. So by looking up to other people, which we've been talking about that topic actually a lot.
Yes, we have. Yes.
This week in our ministry. So it's pretty much other people looking at other people dating, and now all of a sudden want to start dating too, and this causes a lot of problems in the church, because a lot of people are doing that, and and a lot of them end up falling into fornication and doing a whole bunch of stuff
Right.
that they have no business doing, pretty much.
Which is certainly not walking in holiness, but absolutely.
Yes. Also, you got emotions attached, which end up causing issues. You got people even moving in with each other. A lot of people are moving in with each other nowadays, and now then they get stuck in that and feel that they cannot move out for whatever reason. They cannot leave out or just go back to their family for whatever the case may be. And it's a struggle. Like, I don't know how that feels, because I made different decisions after making certain bad choices. But as far as that concerned, I'm not sure exactly how it feels for them, but I know that if the word says something that, and you're trying to walk godly, you're trying to walk in His way, trying to walk in holiness, then if it says this is not the way to go, then you should not be going by that. There's no questioning whether or not if it's okay or not, or I can make it in a different way. In the world, it says not to do it, or it didn't mention it at all, so that means why do it? You know?
I think that people, Joe, it's funny that you say that, because we talked about this in something called Tea Talk Time, and when we talk about Women's Tea Club.
Yeah.
We got a lot of teas going on here. But Joe Fell also is, so my name is Elder Cynthia Shefton, and she calls me Auntie Rab, and I met her through my nephew, and some years ago. But they're very good friends, and with her hanging around, because she's single and she's young and I'm single, so there's standards, and she starts here by connecting to the source of holiness. One of the ways, I think, Joe, that what happens with people oftentimes is that they don't know God, they don't know Yah, and they make life choices, and it's hard to, and I'm sure some of you can relate, we break when we go to break from those life choices and start to live a holy life. It's not just about dating and having sex. It could be anything down to diet, no good pork chop sandwiches and all of that. And when you say connect to the source of holiness, once you start your walk with Christ and you read through the Word, sorry, I got it, tea is really good, it causes you to connect. You connect through the Word, and you connect through your ministry. So I love your very first point here, connecting to the source is Yah, it's God. But you have to be open to it, and you have to kind of, we talked about this on Single for God, we talked about this in Women's Tea Club. The first thing you have to do to connect to that source is admit. It's almost like going to an AA for believers. It's like, I got a problem in a relationship that's not going God ordained. I'm living with this man or woman, and I need to come out of it. Or if I'm eating healthy, I really just don't understand. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to connect to God, Yah, through Scripture.
I definitely agree actually with that, because I feel like for me, when in general, like when you're looking for something you're not sure of, where would you go? You don't go to the friend that's going to tell you to keep living your life and do what you want to do what makes you happy. You don't go to the therapist either that's going to tell you just live your life and do what you want to do, that's going to make you happy. It's all about you, because there's a lot of that going on too. That seems to be a little issue, and with me also, I tend to have a little issue with that, because it's not about you, and that causes people to become so self-centered.
Yes.
Which we also talked about. Actually, we talked about that yesterday on Shabbat, and I find it to be like very irking for me, because I do not like the idea of it's okay as long as you're happy. Because first of all, I could have just went to my friend if that was the case, instead of coming to the therapist that's going to tell me as long as that makes you happy. No, drugs make some people happy.
Absolutely.
Alcohol makes some people happy.
Absolutely.
Sex makes some people happy.
Absolutely.
A lot of people happy. Oh, everyone.
Come on, man. Ain't nothing wrong with sex when you're married, but hey.
Yeah, as long as you're married. Now, if you're not married, now you have the business doing that. You shouldn't be.
I think you bring out a good point, though.
We all.
When you say connect to the source, what maybe even your audience, since they struggle with, is acknowledging that Yah or God is the source, because then from Him comes responsibility. And it was interesting. Yesterday, like you said, we had in the after Shabbat Sabbath school, we had a debate about whether dating was a sin or not, and it was really, really good. But one of the things that, in order to connect to the source, you have to really believe it. I think the young women's team, brought that out, that they were strictly talking about dating believers, only being around believers, even though we shouldn't be dating.
Even though the question
Yeah.
was very broad also. It was not asking that if it's not, then you cannot make it okay because we're believers.
Absolutely.
That's trying to make it okay to accept it.
Absolutely.
Or you know what, it's okay as long as it's believers. No, it's not okay. It didn't mention at all in the scriptures either.
And it doesn't. So, but it is connecting connecting to the source. It is the first thing you have to do is believe that the source exists. You know, and so in your audience, you're dealing with people. Oh, by the way, you see very natural beauty for an older woman. But I agree with you. You have to be a believer, and in order to connect to the source, you've got to believe that Yah is real. Because the conversation then is mute. Because I always say, if you want to go to this God's
heaven, you
gotta go by this God's book.
Yes, I did mention that on there. But yes, totally agree. So we're gonna move on to the second one, which is to be set. It is set apart. Set apart as in moving away from the things that we want or desire, such as which it could be anything, but such as food, alcohol, smoking weed, whatever. I'm just saying in general, going by what the world basically may want. I don't know what else.
No, I think you're good. Anything that is going to separate us from the Torah, the Bible, that's going to separate us from the Scripture and cause us to sin. And let me just say this to to Tea Talk Time listeners. This is not about judging anybody, because we're strictly talking about a specific group of people who are living for Yah or living for God. Jehovah has standards, and we talk about this in Single for God, that if you are single, you can't have sex. So, you can't move in with your boyfriend, and you can't live a certain lifestyle. You cannot eat certain foods, and you can't be around certain people. But there's so many other things you could do. There's a young man that's now attending our services. He came for one reason behind a young lady. Now he's, coming. And one of the things he said, I used to ask, well, what do y'all do in church all day? On Shabbat now, so don't y'all panic. But we have so much fun. I mean, in our ministry, we had a debate team, and it was phenomenal. And it was done by not the old folk, by the. But it is looking. Don't look at what you can't do. Look at what you can do. But there are some strict commandments that He has for us that we cannot do. And when you talk about set apart, you have here to move away from. And maybe that's hard for some people. It's hard for them to move around. We have another young man that is in Single for God. He was in a relationship for 12 years. And he gave his life to Yeshua the Christ. And after some counseling, he gave that relationship up. And I'm sure that wasn't easy. But she didn't want to join with him. She didn't want to change. And he wasn't looking to change her. He's simply saying, I am now going the path. Right. And I want you with me. So he gave her that opportunity, but she didn't want it. So they had to end the relationship, and I know that wasn't easy for him.
Yeah, that's unfortunate how we decide what we want to do. But at least he gave her I was going to say something about something you mentioned actually. But yes. So basically, you made a good point. Like, we're so stuck into actually what we cannot do, instead of focusing on what we can do. And there are so many things besides drinking some good tea. There are so many things that we actually can do as believers, but we don't take advantage of those things. Like, we're so stuck into, oh no, things are not gonna be great, or what about when you're feeling this way? Well, there's things that you can also do that actually can help you to get over those frustrations, those sexual frustration.
I wouldn't know about that at my age, but I'm sure
there's those hormones and stuff like that. Besides working, praying, fasting, but also joining a community. Like we actually, you started. You want to talk about this? So there's Single for God, which is or SFG, which was started by none other than
Elder.
Elder. I want to say Auntie Rev, really. That's
But it's okay. It's my nickname. She calls me Auntie Rev, but yeah.
So yes, we started this actually in April.
I think we started talking about it in
April.
Sabbath school in February. I think.
Yes,
before that. Last year.
And then we started this. We started it officially on April 4th of this year, and every Thursday at 5:30. Every Thursday at 5:30
a.m.
in the morning.
Yes. But no, and then on Wednesday night,
we're live actually on Facebook.
Wednesday night we do Jojo Pierre is one of the founding members, and what we do is we talk about openly the struggles and the triumphs of being single. And we have men. It's not just about a whole bunch of lonely women. And we have different age groups. Our senior pastor has been over there. She talked about being single.
We have young men, so it's not like it's old men.
Single for God was created, I believe, out of a need for Hebrew men and women, but men and women in general, but particularly those who have chosen to live a standard, to have a group or, as you said, community where we talk about it. I thought we were going to pass out because one of our members, Brother JR, said, listen, I don't want to be masturbating because he's single. On live Facebook. And Single for God, it was a community that established, we've had over 5,000 people that are talking about it, and our membership is growing. And because we're saying, yes, we're single, but I love something that you always say, that because we're single, we are not second best. I love when she says that. So it was born out of a need to have healthy dialogue, to let other singles know, hey, we're out here, different age groups. I'm not going to say how old I am, but don't I look nice? She did this.
Don't she look?
I do, right? But that as singles, the scripture is very clear in Corinthians that when you're married, you focus on your partner, your husband or your wife. But when you're single, you should be thinking on the things of the Lord. And what we talk about is, how do we do that? So the first thing, the sis said here is to connect to your source and then be set apart. Now, let me say this to you all. You have to have a standard. You can't get around that. So moving aside from that, okay, we've got that standard. Single for God allows for healthy dialogue about being single and using the scriptures for inspiration and encouragement. We have people from different parts of the world going on to Single for God and posting and sharing and talking.
Most of the viewers actually are coming from Africa.
From Africa, yeah. And 65% right now, the people that have joined Single for God are men, which I thought was really interesting. So it means that it's a conversation that the church needs to have. Not saying that churches aren't, but Single for God, I would say, is very open.
Yes, to pretty much everyone.
Yeah, and we talk about,
because we have married couples.
Yeah, we have married couples
who can share their experiences
yes.
as when they were single.
Yes.
And whether or not they had certain hardships, what things that they could have, if they could have changed certain things, how so, and also help us as single people to understand what it's like to be married pretty much.
One of the things that you said that I want to bring up when I was saying that about being open, the thing I like about Single for God is it's learning how to be content in your singleness, to accept the will of Yah or Jehovah or God in your life, because the reality is not everybody's going to get married, and I think that a lot of people in the body of Christ are so unhappy because they haven't learned to be content where they are, and that's a big part of it. Right? I don't know, right? Like thanking God for where you are and saying, Lord, if it's in your will, I'd like a spouse. But while I'm waiting for your answer, busy doing his work, like tea talk time.
Yes, it is certainly, which is how I got the idea also with the walking in holiness. So you're doing His work. You're focusing on Him, just Him, not yourself, but Him. Our life in general should be evolve around Him and His time, His work. When He wants us to do this, what should we do for Him to please Him, not ourselves all the time? Because for the most part, it's always about us. That's what
I agree with that. One of the things I do want to share with your audience is that we're not saying that you cannot live life. If you ever around us, we have so much fun. There are times when it's serious and we talk about serious issues. The last couple of Wednesday nights, there's a group of us that gets together and we talk about before we go on live on Thursday. And, sometimes when you see someone else dating, it bothers you, maybe because you want to date. You see, especially around the springtime, it's just killing. It's a killer. You see people holding hands and they walk with a little tiny dog. And it can bother you. So Single for God allows you to say, yeah, I'm bothered by that, but I'm learning to accept God's will in my life. And in order to do that, because singles, we have to be set apart. And the other thing we talk about is mastering your gift. And I commend Jojo here. Part of a lot of the dialogue about Single for God and working for Him while we're single is how she came up with, because she had a desire to, I think you should tell them about that, because I don't think in any of your videos you've ever talked about that.
Well, I did. I always.
Well, you better stop that.
So we had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we got some more tea.
We're back.
Amen. Sure.
Which one is this one we keep drinking? The agave?
Agave, passion fruit, and lime. Lemonade.
That's very good. Okay.
Green tea. From Panera Bread. Yes. No, we're not getting paid for this. So. Yes, you mentioned about me before we had a little technical difficulties. You mentioned about me talking about how I pretty much came about with Tea Talk Time. So, of course, this brings actually about our next point, which is fast and pray. It did require for me to have to fast and pray, although I did originally have the idea of doing makeup, and for a very long time I had the idea of doing makeup for people in general. And I just started off with myself playing around, and then came about becoming a makeup artist. And from then I thought about, as you can see, I did her makeup.
Yes, she did. And I like a very, I think this is very natural.
Yes.
So that's why I like it, yes.
Yeah. I try to compliment the client based on a client or a model based on what they actually like, or if it's a model based on what I'm actually looking for. But also too, there's a different looks for older women and younger women, and depending on and depending on what exactly you're doing it for also. So you have to match the look by the type of event pretty much that is happening or that you're going to. So yes, I always thought about doing makeup on YouTube as I started looking at other people, of course. But then the main reason for starting YouTube did not even, because I thought about it a long time ago. I never actually started because I was like, no, I'm way too scared. Then I have my accent going on, so I had an issue with that, right? So so I had an issue with the accent and the whole nervousness, way too nerve-wracking for me to even go on YouTube and talk to anyone about anything or explain anything to anyone.
So that means you have to come out your comfort zone.
Yes. Yes, step out of my comfort zone so I can do what I actually want to do, and I did not like that. So the thing that
learning some people.
The thing that gave me actually the strength was from fasting and praying. I received the word of doing Tea Talk Time. Actually, I saw someone else. This girl actually was doing something. Oh yeah, she was doing something with where she just talked about. I think a few little points about hair and life. And
okay.
then that's when also she would drink different types of tea, which would be little tea bags with names and stuff on them. I don't know where she got those. Honestly, I never find out where she got them. I wish I knew, because it used to be cool to hear the little stuff that comes in the little tea bags, names and stuff. So with that, I was like, oh, that looks so cool, actually. I wish she would talk. Then I just thought about that, and I'm like, oh, that looks cool. I wonder what she's going to talk about next. Oh, then I realized it was just a thing she just did sometime. It wasn't really, yes, it wasn't really so much this is a thing she does all the time. Her focus was more on hair and not so much on all of those things. So,
how has Tea Talk Time changed?
Actually, it has strengthened my understanding about the word, helped me to read the word more, and also focus on my relationship with God and my gifts, and understanding on how I can use them, how I can use my gift, which comes up, which also Tea Talk Time is one gift I developed that I did not know I had, because I was not okay with talking. I used to feel like, oh no, you cannot say certain things, you cannot look a certain way because you're gonna look crazy, or I'm gonna sound crazy to people. But eventually I grew out of it, and like, who cares? Like, just it's the same way as doing therapy. Who cares? You just say what you gotta say, you try your best, and then you keep it. People are gonna like, some people gonna like you, and some people will not like you. But as long as you know what you're putting out His word, and you're doing His work, you need to focus on that, and not so much on what people are gonna think if you say certain things. You know, so that has really helped me and comforted me. Also, praying and fasting has definitely helped a lot too. So, which I had to pray first in order to know when to fast, and then follow along with that came about Tea Talk Time, which I started in January, and I've been doing it once every month.
And it's really it's fasting and praying. So one of the things that you said was, how do you connect? You can't, let me just say this to her audience, because we have an audience on Single for God, and we'll be posting this. We both are members of Bethel International Church Ministry, and
which I will link that down below.
Okay. She's going to put, I don't know how to do that. She's going to show me. We have several entrepreneurs in the ministry, and what Single for God and Tea Talk Time, we have another young lady, she's doing something called Moedim. We have Brother Justin, he's doing something, but also there's these different people. But here's my point: fasting and praying. One of the points that you made, it makes you come closer to God, or closer to Yah. So let me say to the audience, you cannot connect to the source, which is Jehovah, without fasting and praying and reading the Bible. It's just not going to happen. And it's like a marathon or makeup. You can't just go buy makeup and not learn how to apply it. You can make some trials and errors. Yes, it's whole, but you've got to go buy the makeup.
It's a whole process. In order for you to make it to being successful, it's a process. So if it takes a process to do all of those things, why can't you, if you call yourself a believer and you desire to please Him, why don't you want to go through the process to please Him and have develop a deep relationship, a deep connection with Him?
And it's going to take time. Don't work. I think that people, what they do is they set themselves up for failure, because it's like losing weight, or it's like becoming a makeup artist, or becoming an elder and learning how to speak before people. It doesn't happen overnight. And what God is looking for is a heart. One of the things that I think is the biggest challenge is when people know that they're not in a relationship with God the way they're supposed to, and they don't want to admit it. So She's got something here. I always say that love is sacrifice. If you say you love him, you're going to sacrifice the flesh. I mean, we were laughing about it, but I was hitting on the hand or hitting there. And we were saying to the flesh, you know, you have to tell yourself no. You can't say yes to things that go against his word.
Yeah, yes, totally agree. Because this is also one of the things that actually helped me a lot to just thinking about, okay, is this about you, or is this for you? Is this to satisfy your needs, or is that for him? Is that for Hashem? Am I gonna? Is he gonna be happy if I decide to do this? How you think he would feel about doing this? How much things have he done for you, and how much have you really done for him? So all of those things, and also I brought up also. I have also here renewing your vows with him, and once you renew your vows, then you have to be mindful of you renew your vows. Now you gotta.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Now you just renewed your vows with Yahweh, of course. So therefore, now you gotta be more, walk this way, not be this so much this way anymore. Every time it's a step. It helps you to get closer to him. It's like one step closer to him. But every time you do this, you have to change some things. You have to get rid of some things, some baggages, just stop doing a few things. And yeah, pretty much. Also keeping the covenant, the promise basically, that I have made with him, to keep myself and to wait on him instead of trying to rush into things and then end up in making a whole big mess for myself, Do not overindulge in anything that is not of him. Definitely.
I'm going to take that one. You shouldn't indulge in anything that is not of God. I stopped dating like years ago, I'm not telling you, because I didn't really know what y'all's plan was for my life, but I just know dating wasn't working out for me. So I just stopped doing it. And it took me a while. It took me some years. But once I got used to just me and him, now I only wanted to be me and him.
Exactly. Same here. And I just wish that more people actually could want to do the same thing and see it for themselves, how it feels like and how good it is. Even though you're going to go through, it's not like it's gonna be everything's on the pictures and cream. You're going to go through, but it's a better feeling when you're going through for
it.
Him.
It's amazing.
To going through because of your own mistake.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Life, and now you're over here crying and going through a whole lot of.
It is. If I just could add to that too, I know that when you first came to the ministry, one of the things is that there was sometimes God would open up doors financially, and you would just come back like so happy, like you were wanting to do things, and like the trip that we're getting ready to take, and the Lord through Senior Pastor gave you some advice, you took it, you did, whatever, and that Jehovah, I mean, He's an amazing God, and I'm telling you, T-Talk time is really hitting a point. It's all about Him, and it's not because it's all about Him, because to be honest with you, it's all about you. He sacrificed His Son. Yeah, I just want to add that to that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we're gonna go to the next one.
How do you know you're doing the right thing when you're still going through? You don't. You're just being honest. So this question, she says, is how do you know you are doing the right thing when things are when you're still going through things? The only way you know is if you're following the scripture, because life happens. Believers get cancer. Believers die. Believers have car accidents. They lose their houses. They lose their jobs. Their children. Their things happen. And so what the enemy tries to do is he tries to get us to focus on that. But I remind you of the story of Job. Job said, even if he slays me, I'm going to trust him. And I have to tell you, our ancestors in the Bible, in the Torah, they trusted God. I mean, Abraham trusted him with his only son, Isaac. You got to trust him. And it's a blind walk of faith. So that even when things are not going, I know I've been through it and I'm going through it now, but I still wouldn't trade my journey for him, because I know that at the beginning of that storm, during that storm, and at the end of that storm, He's there. Yes. Yes. Okay.
Yes. We're gonna bring up just 3 scriptures before we're gonna wrap it up. For the one.
What bridge?
Okay, so we're going to bring up about 3 scriptures. Before we end this, 3 scriptures. So those 3 scriptures. You want to read the first one?
Because that's okay. First one is Leviticus chapter 11, verses 44 and 45 reads, I am the Lord your God. Ye shall therefore sanctify yourselves, and ye shall be holy, set apart, for I am holy. Neither shall ye defile yourselves with any manner of creeping things that creepeth upon the earth. For I, the Lord, that bringeth you up out of the land of Egypt to be your God, ye shall therefore be holy, for I am holy.
Okay, so the second scripture is, but ye, beloved, building up yourselves on your most holy faith, praying in the Holy Ghost. That's Jude chapter 1, verse 20. And the last one is, for the Lord is our defense, and the Holy One of Israel is our King. This can be found on Psalm chapter 89, verse 18.
Very good scriptures.
And to wrap this up, this is pretty much was about holiness and walking in His way. Peter talk about in First Peter actually chapter 1 verse 16, be ye holy, for I am holy. So this is what actually Yah God, the big G, capital G, want us to pretty much. He want us to walk in holiness. He want us to be holy, for He is holy, like He's holy. So yet a lot of us have a tendency to sometimes say that well, it's easier for God to be holy, because He's God, so of course He can be holy. But if He says we can do it, so what makes us think that we can't do it? He says we can do it, we can do it, you can do it. And
yes, I just want to say one thank you, yes, Jojo, for inviting me. I've enjoyed my free facial and my awesome tea for Tea Talk Time, and I want to encourage you to tune in to Tea Talk Time at least once a month. We'll be Single for God every Thursday at 5:30 in the morning. And also, we are in service, the men on Fridays in Newark, New Jersey. And come on down. But I want to thank you for inviting me for being on Tea Talk Time. I enjoyed myself.
I think it was a pleasure having you. A blessing for us to be able to hear you and all the things, all the wisdom that you have to offer us here. We are very happy to have you. I'm sure all our viewers will be happy to see this. Thank you all for watching. And again, don't forget, you know the drill. Like, comment and subscribe. And now that will be all.
I was about to do
that. We look forward to the look forward to the next following videos that I'll be having, and also the other TikTok time that we'll be having coming up this summer, and other special guests. Thank you all for watching, and have a great day.
Forever in our mountains.
We will declare the name of the Lord, and His song shall be forever
For you
in our mouth.
You are good, you are kind,
You are awesome
in all of your ways. Faithful God.